the first time I was working with him, he was always an incredibly nice man, still is. But the way I interpreted his body language was, what exactly are you doing? Like, what is your job? Last time I checked, this is IT. Wait, how do you fit in? The best use case I have for cultural cartography is one of my favorite clients. He's a CIO in the tech space. And the first time I was working with him, he was always an incredibly nice man, still is. But the way I interpreted his body language was, what exactly are you doing? Like, what is your job? Last time I checked, this is IT. Wait, how do you fit in? Well, because he was a very nice man, he didn't want to outright say no. So we got to try some small things. And I think he saw the results and was definitely taken aback. Like, wait, I'm not sure still what you're doing, but somehow things are better. And in one very memorable conversation, like, I ask people questions and I don't really get a whole lot of answers back. People just tell me what I want to hear. But you ask questions, then they tell you everything. How does that work? And that's cultural cartography. When you want to get the most from your people, when you want them to come to you with their ideas and their creativity and their subject matter knowledge so that you can put all these things in to solve the big problems leaders are trying to. That's the use case. And I think what he would say now is in order to do technology transformation, you first have to do the people transformation. And that's really where cultural cartography comes in. From Skyline, where you're talking about where are we? Where do we want to go? To cityscapes, which is great. We're all seeing New York City skyline. Love Lady Liberty, but I'm in Bronx. That looks very different than Manhattan, reflecting that local reality to places, which is literally great. We want to be New York, but we're Omaha. Like, can we really be New York? Maybe not. But what is the part of New York City that you want to adapt and make it part of your skyline? Part of your culture. And places is literally that the blueprint for developing your organization to match your vision and your needs. And Compass Fragility is okay, my favorite because it was my first. I put together the compass back when I was agile coaching. And this was when agile transformations took 3 to 5 years. I was just like, really? Why? Agile's so simple. So I was like, oh, I can do it in 3 months. And people looked at me like I was completely insane. I think I was called the Agile heretic at a conference once. But when you break Agile down to the most simplest things, which is where are you trying to go? What's getting in your way? Let's get there. You could actually do it in 90 days. And we did. So the book emerged after I had been doing these 90-day transformation efforts, again, in government, because no one believed me could be done. So I wrote down my system. So besides the compass, we have, I think, two other products in the cultural cartography that are really fundamentally people levers. Facets is really about understanding the stuff people are dealing with. We tend to treat organizational change like it's a brand new, starting from a clean slate. There is never a clean slate. Organizations have history, people have history, and very often that history has not been pleasant. So Facets addresses that. It's what are the fears? What are people angry about? And how do you take those fears and anger and start curiosity? Because you want to understand those. And if you're talking and listening and connecting, you can convert that curiosity into empathy and eventually trust, because that is what gives you the best clean slate you're going to have for organizational transformation. And then, paralleling that is Spectrix. And Spectrix is the most fun one because it's the most individual. The rest are really more about big picture problems and, people coming together. Spectrix is that, but it's also ultimately about each person, because even the biggest organizational transformation is lots of individual transformation. And that's what Spectrix is. It's not who you are, but who can you be in this particular context to create a win-win scenario. And the more that we equip everybody with how to show up in a way that makes this particular context better, that's the escalator for organizational change in a sustainable way. And that's where collab comes in, because all this behavior change is hard. Cultural cartography makes it easier, good leaders make it possible, but it is still hard work. And when you're learning a new language or changing behavior, you need place and time to practice those behaviors. And that's what collab is. And they're my favorite things to do because it's collaboration laboratory. And it's a time and a space where there's no rules. You figure out what you need for the people in that space and you make it fun so that they can work on the difficult work of changing behavior with trust and psychological safety and curiosity and all of those awesome things that are needed.